This picture of the Canadian captain kind of sums it all up. Silver is never a color that's popular with Canadian hockey players. It's a medal that you learn to appreciate over time, but on the day of and probably for a few weeks after, it stings, and this one will sting for quite a while. Dave Randorf back with Darren Pang and Darren Dreger. Full credit to Team Russia as they came back from a 2-goal deficit after two, got 2 goals in the third, and then the winner from Ilya Kovalchuk, a guy who was second in the National Hockey League with 52 goals, had none coming into this game. He didn't even play in the semifinal because he had been suspended for 2 misconducts. Let's review, shall we?
Well, let's start with, Ilya Kovalchuk's, his ability to make plays, how tricky he is from a goaltender's point of view. If you give him time and space, and he did a remarkable job of not staying on the right side, but cutting over to the left side, and it's very hard to defend against a right-hand shot. But really, the game-tying goal was a direct result of a bad play in the neutral zone. Spezza turned away from a puck, and then Jay Bouwmeester, you know, if he had to do it again, I'm sure he'd want to get 2 shin pads on that one. Then there's a minor penalty right there from Nash, and that's all she wrote. And fellas, this guy can flat-out fire the puck. I mean, make no mistake about that.
Well, the emotion afterwards is obvious. The elation of the Russian team and a richly earned gold medal. The emotion on the face of Shane Doan. You saw it in the eyes of Ken Hitchcock afterwards. But on this day, in this gold medal final of the World Hockey Championship, the Russian Stars flatly outplayed the Canadian Stars. And it started very early on. And I know you're going to take issue with that because Canada had 2 2-goal leads and they blew them. It was about Semin. It was about Ovechkin. Look at this long stretch pass to Alex Ovechkin. Now, he doesn't score here in the second period, but he circles back in the offensive zone and absolutely hammers Dan Hamhuis. That is the type of conviction that you get from Alex Ovechkin on a daily dose. Canada did come back. Danny Heatley was a lone marksman from Canada's big 3, getting the assist from Ryan Getzlaf on the play. But again, in this gold medal final, the big guns for Russia were better. And
Russia tasted bitter defeat, and they were very upset last year when they didn't even get to the gold medal game on their home ice. They were upset in the semifinal by the Finns in overtime, and it's almost cruel to even bring it up. But Rick Nash, who was the most valuable player of the tournament a year ago and was huge for Team Canada and was huge for Canada this year, the cruel irony was that he was the guy sitting in the penalty box in overtime to allow that power play goal, which, by the way, Russia went 2 for 4 in the game, a power play that was ranked 9th coming in, and ultimately it's Canada's #1 power play that was a TSN turning point in the first.
Well, we said that after the first period that, you know, they had it for 3.5 minutes, a power play because of the double minor for high stick, and an opportunity to go 2 goals up. I mean, like Drake said, they had a 3-1 lead, they had a 4-2 lead, and weren't able to handle it, but that first period was key. They had 5 power plays in the first period. They only had 1 after that, so that is an indication of how the play was going a little bit more north, and the Canadians were a little on their heels. They took a couple of hooking calls as well in there.
And it carried into the third period, too. It was almost as if, you know, Canada decided, all right, we've got the 4-2 lead now. Let's not worry about it. Let's just defend that 2-goal lead going into the third period. And that's a dangerous mindset because the Russians never quit. At any point in that hockey game, did Russia say, this game is over, pack your bags, we're heading back with disappointment? They kept fighting.
Hey, Canada gave it, you know what, both teams represent what hockey's all about.
Yeah.
They're passionate. They represented their country. I give a lot of credit to Evgeny Nabokov again. Here's a guy that had a tough playoff. We've seen many players for a lot of countries that had tough playoffs and didn't come and represent their countries. He did. He stabilized them. I'm
Changed
not,
everything.
This isn't far-fetched. They're not in this position if Evgeny Nabokov doesn't come here because he stabilized everything. And in that first period, he made a lot of wonderful saves, outshot 15-5. He held the fort for them. That should have been a blowout after 1.
Yeah, just on those power plays alone that you talked about in the first period, just as he did for the San Jose Sharks in that series against Dallas, giving them a chance to maybe come back. He was a huge difference.
Who picked the player of the game?
Pardon me?
Oh, never mind.
So, yeah, you know what?
Never mind.
We gave up trying to figure out the player of the game. They're spreading those watches around. I told you. Making sure everybody gets one. No. Bottom line was, it was a classic. This one, there's Canadian hockey fans coast to coast who are disappointed with the result, but I don't think anybody can honestly say they didn't enjoy watching that game.
Oh, what a wonderful
It was a fantastic game, great atmosphere, and it's been way too long that the World Championship has come to this country. Hopefully we don't have to wait 80-plus years for it to come back. Next year, it is Bern, Switzerland. p.m. Eastern with plenty of post-game reaction from this goal that was heard around the hockey world today. No question about it. On behalf of Gord Miller, Pierre McGuire, Darren Pang, Darren Dreger, this is Dave Randorf saying so long.